My name's Chance. I'm a bouncer at a bar in Jersey Shore in Seaside Heights, New Jersey. So last Saturday, I went to work. It's a normal Saturday, and I was on the door that night. Throughout the night, there was a wedding party that came. And later on, around 12:30, 11 o'clock, Dillon Danis came with 3 of his buddies, and I asked them for IDs, and 3 of the friends gave me IDs, and he never had one. He kind of was saying like, dude, how do you not know who I am? How do you not know? And all of his boys were kind of saying the same thing. And I told him like, look, dude, I don't know who you are. I got no idea. They said that he fights for the UFC, and I'm like, I don't watch MMA like that. I'll watch big fights and everything, but I don't watch normal fights all the time. And then after that, he just proceeded to get more and more agitated, as I just did not know who he was. So I told him I'm not gonna let him in without an ID. And he proceeded to Google himself, which when he pulled up the Google page, it said that he was 28 years old, but I don't know who he is, and that's not a valid form of ID. So I told him that he needed an ID or passport, a driver's license or something, so I could let him in. When he said that he doesn't have anything, I said, sorry man, you're not gonna get in. Once that began, another bouncer, Jake, came up and just told Dillon to kind of get off the property. We're not gonna let you in. Sorry dude, go somewhere else. And then Dillon started to kind of just take a step towards Jake, the other bouncer, and Jake put a hand on his chest. And that's when he's like, you don't have to step forward to me, man. You don't have to do that.
At this time, Chance called me over, and basically we're watching Dillon Danis act a fool because he didn't have his ID. We weren't letting him in. Chance already told him multiple times, and at that point, he just started mouthing off to us, to which I proceeded to tell him to get off the property. He did not like that. Got in my face, told him to back up. Then he proceeded to keep talking like he does, as you can all see on social media.
While Jake was having a conversation with Dillon and the other 3 guys, I walked behind Dillon. He starts to kind of act up or get agitated, and in this case, Dillon Danis threw a punch at the other bouncer, Jake.
He swung at me, and he missed. He took a nice right jab right over my right shoulder. Missed completely.
At that point, I grabbed him by his neck, brought him down to the ground, put him in a rear naked chokehold. And whenever I'm doing something like that at work, for the first second or 2 of that going on, I am legitimately choking you out. I had him in a proper rear naked choke, and I choked him out for a second or so. And once he felt him tap, he tapped my arm, and I asked him if he's okay. And he proceeded to give me a thumbs up. And after that, I'm like, okay, dude, we're just gonna hang out here for a couple minutes until the police come, all right, man? So, we call it the beachcomber takedown because, a bouncer is distracting them, essentially. A bouncer is talking to them, is holding that person's attention. And while their attention is on them, another bouncer will circle around their back in case, in the event that they do start doing something that they shouldn't do, pushing, shoving. We've had people spit on another bouncer before. So the beachcomber takedown is basically a one-stop shop to stopping any of that. Is because if one bouncer's behind him, as soon as that bouncer behind him deems the person no longer allowed to stay in the building, they'll pick him up, grab him by the neck, take him down. Sometimes, we'll pick him up by the waist and just carry him right out of the bar. So that's basically the way that we took him down, is we snuck up behind him and took him off guard. Size doesn't always matter, but in a case like that where Dillon Danis is drunk, he's a highly trained fighter and everything, but I'm 6'1", 6 feet maybe, 275 pounds, and once I get hooks in you, it's gonna be hard to get out. In the video, I crossed my ankles, but I only crossed my ankles afterwards because, once he tapped and everything and I was just bear hugging him, I felt comfortable enough to kind of sacrifice that security of my ankles not getting broken for, more control over his waist so he doesn't try to roll himself out of it. And he kept trying to roll me over and everything, roll out of it, but I just held him there for a while, kind of bear hugged him a little bit, and waited till the cops came.
Once he took him down to the ground, one of his buddies who he was with went after Chance, where a bartender proceeded to grab him up and try and get him off of Chance, where Dillon Danis' brother completely cheap-shotted one of our bartenders for trying to help out us. Which, I mean, that's a bold move for a little guy. Once that happened, he got thrown down the ramp for throwing a cheap shot, and then the cops basically scooped him up, put him in cuffs, and then from there, Chance rolled over, put him on his stomach. Cops helped him get cuffed. When he got up, he proceeded to continue to talk like we all know he loves to do, and lunge at me. Luckily, I was able to get out of the way, even with the broken hand. And then they scooped him up and brought him down the ramp. Went to the police station.
Once the police came, the officer grabbed his hand. I helped him flip him over, and I'm on top of him, behind him. So I helped the police put arms behind his back and everything. I put my knee under his elbow so he couldn't pull his arm out of the handcuffs or anything, or out of the officer's hands. And after that, once they got him in cuffs and picked him up, I turned around and just kind of went back to go hang out on my stool where I check IDs. That's about it. Since all of that's went down, Gordon Ryan has since told me that he's going to get me to the ADCC, ringside tickets with him and all of his guys, which is absolutely outrageous and awesome. Tom Deblass has offered me a full year of free training at his gym, which I absolutely took up. I had my first class with him last night. Out of the 500 messages that I've gotten in the last few days, most people have been saying, thank you, good job, you're a legend. We really don't like Dillon Danis, mostly. But I know a lot of the memes that I've seen in the last few days are hilarious. So far, my absolute favorite is the Paul Blart meme. It's the best. No, I'm not a mall cop either. Or I'm not a cop in general, actually. I'm just a bouncer. Oh, man.
It's great. I love that Chance is getting the publicity that he's getting. He well deserved. I mean, took down a so-called great MMA fighter. I mean, world champion in jiu-jitsu. Clearly can see that. Definitely getting the fame that he definitely deserves. Us bouncers, we're behind the scenes, but Chance definitely is getting what he deserves on this one.
So people have offered me money and a lot of free stuff and everything, which is super cool, but it doesn't really feel right to take other people's money for doing really nothing. So, I set up a GoFundMe page for my high school JROTC program that I was in for 3 years at my high school. And every year they send a few cadets, about 20 or 30 of them, to somewhere historic, somewhere, within the United States that is, significant to American history. And this year they're going to Pearl Harbor. Not everyone in the program can afford to go, so there's always fundraisers. So, when people started to tell me that, give me my Venmo and everything like that, and I'll give you money. And I just told them hey man, if you guys want to really do it, donate. It'd be really appreciated, and it's a good cause. And a lot of these kids are really great kids, and it helped me out a lot in my personal life. So it just, fit perfectly. If I could see Dillon, probably just tell him bring an ID. Don't Google yourself. And if you do, there's probably a cooler way to do it than what you did. And sorry, dude, it just kind of happened, bud. Don't try to punch a bouncer either. It's never a good idea. I don't know if it's ever worked out for someone, but it's not a great idea, bud. Sorry. Have I Googled myself? Once. I did once. And for some odd reason, some guy who played baseball in the 90s comes up. So I'm still not that popular. I have yet to find an article that if I Google my name, it comes right up. So I'm still shooting for a Z-list celebrity. I'm not even to A, B's, or C's, man. I'm still at the bottom of the rung of the ladder, man. I'm definitely gonna have to bring my ID everywhere I go. Bars, DMV, no matter what. I gotta bring my ID with me. I've always wondered why people don't carry their IDs. Where does it go? It's wallet or purse? Where do you keep it? It's kind of a weird thing. I'm Chance the Bouncer, and I totally approve this message. Ah, man.